Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for listening to the 132nd ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the Revel Advertising Studio in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How are you doing today, Kyle?
I'm just
I almost
fine.
forgot your name.
You did?
Like, who's this guy again?
Who am I? I'm just fine, Cameron. How are you?
I'm doing well. Any speaking tickets this week?
No, I made it a whole week without getting pulled over. Actually, on the way here, about 2 blocks from here, there was a copper running.
I don't think they like that name, but
really
yeah.
Running his radar, and I didn't get pulled over.
Oh,
Congratulations.
I don't. Maybe like a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Didn't learn your lesson, huh?
Is that a derogatory term I just used?
I think it's acceptable.
Okay.
If it was in a Disney movie, they would like put a disclaimer at the front.
Really?
I don't know.
Do we need to start this over?
No, we're rolling with it. It'll be fine. Yeah,
I
it was Kyle that said it.
I
not
apologize
me.
to anyone I offended, but I'm still a little upset about last week.
Makes
so,
sense.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle. Well, we're coming in close to the NCAA tournament. Best time of the year. Selection Sunday's right around the corner. We've got conference tournaments galore this week, including the SEC tournament, which we will preview. We've got some football news at the top of the show. But first, let me remind everyone, it's tournament time. That means you can join our ESPN Tournament Challenge bracket group. Now, this group is for podcast listeners only. This is the only place anybody will hear about it. We're not going to tweet about it. Only people that are hearing my voice right now will know that the bracket group is called Missouri. What's it called again? Missouri Sports Pod 2021. And the group motto is I Love Tyler Beatty. So Missouri Sports Pod 2021. Look for that motto, I Love Tyler Beatty, and you can join that. Only one bracket per person. And, of course, all the brackets lock before the first games start. And you got to try to dethrone me. Because in 2019, the last NCAA tournament we had, I took home the grand prize, which was a T-shirt.
Congratulations.
And
Yeah, I guess we'll do that again.
that sounds good.
Winner gets a T-shirt.
T-shirt and maybe a sticker,
Couple
too.
stickers, maybe.
Yeah.
One of each.
Nice little prize package. And obviously, you get a big shout out on the episode where we talk about it. So yeah, and I just created that today, so it is live. Even though the brackets aren't live yet, you can still go join that group, so you have everything ready to go on Selection Sunday. Kyle, you want to talk a little bit about football?
Yeah, I would love to.
Are you ready for that bracket challenge?
I'm ready for it, man. I would be ready for it if we had a tournament in 2020.
I got to be the champion for 2 consecutive years.
It's unbelievable, really. It's not fair that we get to hear Cameron boast his accomplishments to us for 2 straight years without ceasing.
I'm not going to take it easy on everybody either. I don't want to relinquish the title.
All right, we'll do our best. Me and producer Cameron and the army of fellow Mizzou fans, we'll take you down.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm really ready for March Madness, especially it being 2 years instead of 1. But yeah, we're going to transition to football a little bit. Some news. Spring practice is going on, which is great. Kind of whet the appetite a little bit on the off season and get some of the newcomers in. And there's quite a few of them. It seems like there's more newcomers at this point in the year than normal. But I love how they make everybody earn their number. Mm-hmm. And I think we talked about this a little bit last week. I think we talked about Mookie Cooper and Dominic Lovett.
Yeah, Dominic Lovett specifically.
Earning their numbers. Yeah, they were the first 2 guys to do it. But pretty much, I would say a lot of the newcomers have earned their numbers at this point. But Realus George and Daniel Robledo, who are both JUCO defensive linemen, and Dalen Carnell and Zaquan Reeves both earned their numbers as well. They're both freshman cornerbacks. Also, we had a cornerback switch to safety, and that's Jalen Carlisle. And I saw a picture of the cornerback guys like hanging out at coach's place or something, a few months ago, and he was noticeably larger than anybody else. So I think it makes sense for him to make the move over to strong safety. I don't know if that's permanent, but they're at least trying him out. And he played quite a bit last year for freshman, so has a little bit of game experience. Seems like he is a promising player for the future.
I saw new defensive coordinator, Coach Wilkes, was talking about introducing some zone concepts in the secondary because he noticed that all Missouri did the last few years was play man-to-man, and they did get beat deep more than he would like to see, and he said they're picking up the zone concepts pretty well.
Yeah, that's good to hear, and I noticed that as well. And another interesting tidbit that he mentioned was they didn't get a lot of interceptions last year because they're playing so much man. They're looking the opposite direction of the quarterback. They've got their heads turned, and so maybe that playing more zone will allow them to jump some routes and just see the field a little bit better, maybe, and facing the quarterback, watch his eyes.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds great to me.
Is that all we got for football?
Think so.
Oh, we got to talk about this LSU game. Final game of the regular season, Missouri lost to LSU 86-80.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, and LSU. I mean, we talked about how good they are on offense, and they proved it in this game. And this is not a sustainable model for Missouri to win games in, is where they've got to outscore the other team. And I mean, both teams were kind of scoring at will, honestly, in this whole game, but LSU just was able to do it a little bit better, and Cam Thomas better than advertised, man. He was unbelievable in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he was way more efficient than he usually is.
Yeah, he was taking like ill-advised shots, and it didn't matter. He looked like a pro out there.
Yeah, he had 29 points on just 13 field goal attempts. He was also 10 for 12 from the free throw line.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. I kind of thought maybe this one was going to get away from Missouri early. They were on the bad end of a 16-2 run in the first half, but they battled back to make it 40-40 at halftime. I thought it was interesting. LSU had 37 points with 5 minutes left in the first half, and Missouri was able to hold them to 3 more points in that 5-minute span. When I saw that, there was like a timeout or something, and there's 5 minutes left, and they had 37 points. I was like, oh my, they are like on pace to break 90 easily. But they slowed down there a little bit at the end of the first. Mizzou had a lead most of the second half, but LSU just kept it close, and they took the lead for good with about 4 minutes left in the game. There was one possession very late. The score was 82-80, 82-80. And Mizzou had the ball, but that was just the weirdest possession ever. And Pinson ended up shooting like a weird mid-range shot where like he didn't even really jump. He had like 1 foot in the air.
Yeah, that was really weird. He like looked like he decided to shoot and then changed his mind or something, and he basically shot flat-footed or something almost. It was really weird looking.
Obviously, that shot did not go down, and at that point, basically Mizzou had to foul, and then ended up losing by 6.
Yeah.
You wish you could have that possession back, because it seems like, Mizzou has been pretty good at getting a good look this season in crunch time when they needed to in close games. Obviously, we just came off the back of Drew Smith scoring the game winner. It seemed like something like that was, you can kind of expect them to manufacture something decent, whether it's a good look from 3 or a good drive to the rim late in games, but they weren't able to do it this time.
Yeah, honestly, it felt like Missouri was a little bit fortunate to even be in a position to win this game at the end. They kind of survived the first half with like heroic performances from Torrance Watson and Drew Buggs. Those guys both were kind of carrying them in the second half of the first half. And, Missouri starters really didn't play all that well in this game. Drew had a pretty good game, and he scored 17, and Xavier Pinson scored 14. So, I mean, they were scoring, but Tillman was a little bit MIA in this game, and I was a little bit surprised that he wasn't able to take advantage of LSU's not great defensive game, so that was a little surprising.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like LSU just decided, okay, Missouri, you're going to have to shoot it over the top of us, and you're going to have to make shots to win this game because we're just going to pack the paint and bring 3 or 4 guys. 3 or 4 guys almost every possession could reach out and touch Tillman at any moment.
They would swarm him every time he got the ball, and honestly, that's probably about the best way you can play Missouri. It's force them to shoot threes.
Yeah, especially if you're just an okay defensive team elsewhere. If you can just kind of overwhelm a team in the paint, a team like Missouri that kind of needs that paint production to be balanced on offense, yeah, I think that'll work well most of the time. You mentioned Watson and Buggs. They combined for 17 points on just 10 shots from the field.
And then I feel like Torrance didn't really play much in the second half, so I was a little bit confused about that.
Yeah, he just played 13 minutes total. Penson only played 19 minutes. Mark Smith played 32 minutes, and he scored 8 points on 14 field goal attempts. He was 0 for 6 from 3.
Yeah, not a great game. Not a great game for Mark.
No, not much more we can say about that. I mean, we've talked about his issues all season long.
Well, again, it just seems like a great opportunity to get more Watson in there in a game where
Watson was 2 for 4 from 3.
In a game where you need a scoring punch to be able to keep pace with the other team. Honestly, I don't know why you don't just give Watson a try, because he proved that he was capable of doing it in the first half. I don't know why you take him out.
I don't know either. Yeah, Tillman 6 points on just 3 field goal attempts, so just couldn't really ever get anything going. Kobe Brown with a double-double, 11 points, 10 rebounds. But again, he played 22 minutes, which that's probably about his season average. But Missouri just couldn't really do anything to stop Cam Thomas or Trendon Watford for that matter. Watford in particular, he was an annoying player to play against. Man, he was super physical on both ends of the floor, just kind of moving guys out of the way to get position on when he was on offense, and just kind of leaning on guys when he was on defense. And there were a lot of fouls called in this game, and I think sometimes officials just don't want to call a foul every single possession, and they called a lot of fouls, and I still think with how physical everybody was, they could have potentially called more, especially off ball in the paint and stuff. It didn't matter how many fouls they called. The Watford in particular, he was kind of throwing his body around and leaning on guys, and it worked really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, depending on how the game is called in the NCAA tournament, LSU seems to me like a team that could kind of sneakily make a run. They're just really talented and they're well-rounded.
Yeah. They got that superstar that can take over
exactly.
a game.
That seems to be a almost prerequisite sometimes of those teams that come out of nowhere, is they've got one really dominant player that can score, and obviously they have that in Cam Thomas. So, LSU could honestly make like an Elite Eight, or they could lose in the first round. They're a little all over the place.
Yeah, if their defense was just a little bit better, then I mean, it's not great to give up 80 points to Missouri. If LSU's defense was a little bit better, then I think that they would be a real threat. But I think they just don't quite have enough there.
Yeah, they have to play that well in offense all the time. That's the problem.
Yeah, they're still the number 5 offense in the country on KenPom. Oh, let's see here. As a team, Missouri shot 44% from 2, 30% from 3. They got to the free throw line 34 times, making 25 attempts. 2-point field goal percentage for LSU was off the charts, 61%. So that's obviously
ridiculous.
A bit of making tough shots and a bit of defensive struggles for Missouri, both. So Missouri ends the season with an overall record of 15-8, 8-8 in SEC play. When you look at their KenPom rating, it is 48, 38 in offense, 63 on defense. I would have expected those to be flipped preseason.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In conference play, they finished 7th on offense, 8th in defense, 8th fastest tempo in the SEC. A couple troubling things that kind of speak to the struggles of this team this year. dead last in the SEC in opponent trips to the free throw line. So free throw attempts per field goal attempt, Missouri's defense was the worst at sending opponents to the free throw line.
I don't really understand Missouri's regression, I guess, in defensively this year. I don't really understand that. Obviously, they're playing faster. They're playing more up-tempo. They're trying to take advantage of transition opportunities and stuff. And I think that has been very good for them this year. That has made them the team that they are.
More dynamic,
and
for
I
sure.
think that especially early on in the season, teams were not prepared for how quick they were getting up and down the floor, and I think that was really good for them in the non-conference. But yeah, at some point, it seemed about halfway through the year, their defense just really, I don't know, was not as effective.
And then the area that obviously held the offense back, three-point shooting, they were 10th in the SEC at 32%. But surprisingly, free throw percentage, they were 11th at 68%.
That's another one that just doesn't really make sense.
No. But we're still looking at a top 50 team who will be in the NCAA tournament for the first time in a few years. But before we have an NCAA tournament, we have an SEC tournament. And obviously, once we get out from under all the tournaments and all the busyness of this time of year, we will do a proper recap of the season, give our overall thoughts on everything, and talk about the players' performances over the course of the year, the departing players, kind of take a look at what the roster might look like next year. So stay tuned for that after the season really gets done.
Enjoy the season while you can.
Yeah. We have some new faces next year, playing a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
All right. SEC tournament. Where to begin here? I'll run you through the seeds real quick. Alabama's the 1 seed. Arkansas the 2. LSU, unbelievably, the 3 seed. Tennessee the 4 seed. Florida the 5. Ole Miss is the 6. Missouri the 7. Kentucky's the 8. Mississippi State's the 9. Georgia the 10 seed. South Carolina the 11. Vanderbilt the 12. And Texas A&M the 13 seed. Auburn absent from this tournament because they are self-imposing a postseason ban.
Vanderbilt and A&M playing right now.
Yeah. Who'd you pick for that one?
I picked Vanderbilt.
I did as well. Are they winning?
We just so everyone knows, we did our bracket before that game started, and we both picked Vanderbilt, but they were ahead by 10 at halftime. Don't know anything since then.
Kyle, looking over this bracket, think back to preseason. Give me a couple surprises, maybe a good surprise, like a team that outperformed, a team that underwhelmed based on the preseason.
I mean, it's pretty easy as far as Alabama being a shocking 1 seed, I would say, and I don't think anybody saw that coming. And then Kentucky being the 8 seed is just as equally shocking, probably.
Yeah, I would put Tennessee up there too, being 4th. I mean, if you told me that another team would emerge and compete with Tennessee for the top spot, I would have totally believed that. But
did Alabama only lose that 1 game to Missouri, the whole SEC slate? I don't remember them losing any other games.
They also lost to Arkansas on the road.
Oh, yep. I remember that now. That was pretty recent, actually. But still, that
was a great game for Arkansas.
Incredible season for Alabama. They're going to be a 2 seed, and it'd be very improbable. But I mean, they are not completely out of the possibility of getting a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
That they have the opportunity for wins over Kentucky, Florida, or Tennessee, and then Arkansas. That would surely help the resume.
Yeah.
Man, I remember I've said this a few times on the show, but back when Missouri lost to Tennessee around Christmas time, I was asked by a family member, how's Missouri going to finish in the conference? And I said they could finish anywhere from 2nd to 7th.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit disappointing to be at the bottom end of that spectrum.
Yeah, there's just such a logjam in the middle of the conference, and Tennessee, finishing 4th, they were still right up there at the top the whole time, and Getting a double bye is still something to be very happy about in the tournament, but yeah, it is interesting. As the season progressed, I mean, even all the way to the end, Missouri could have even been the 10 seed in the SEC tournament. There was just a lot of like a big log jam, and Missouri was just the most, I don't know, inconsistent probably in that whole group.
And the different number of total games played factored in a little bit as well as far as the winning percentages.
Yeah, Missouri not getting to play Vanderbilt and did not get to play A&M a second time. Obviously, if they have both of those games and win them both, I'm assuming they win them both. They're fighting for that top 4 seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would be 10-8, and Tennessee is 10. Tennessee's 10-7. Florida's 9-7. Ole Miss is 10-8. So yeah, it really is a logjam right there. All right. Do you want to talk about Missouri's matchup with Georgia first, or do you want to talk through the bracket and do our predictions first?
Whatever you want to do.
All right, let's talk about Georgia. Missouri lost to Georgia already this season. That was kind of one of the low points of the season for Missouri, maybe the low point.
It was a strange game.
Yeah, they lost that game by 10. It was on the road. Missouri had the lead plenty
comfortably in the second half.
I think they were up by 13.
Yep.
That was a very strange game. Missouri went on an 11-0 run and then a 14-0 run to get out to that 13-point lead at the beginning of the second half, or partway through the second half. Then Georgia went on a 13-2 run, 12-2 run, and a 16-2 run, all in the last 14 minutes of the game.
Yeah, both teams just huge runs, really streaky, and yeah, I mean, just a massive swing from being up 13 with about 12 minutes to go in the game, then losing by 10. It was just like, what just happened? I feel like Georgia got uncharacteristically hot from 3 at the end of that game. I think they went 5 for 6 in the second half from 3, or just I don't know. It was a long time ago. I don't know if I'm remembering that right, but they got really hot, and Missouri did not know what to do. They kind of got frenzied.
Yeah, that was a kind of a struggle game for Missouri shooting from 3. They shot 23%, 6 for 26, but they dominated in the paint. They shot 57%. Just needed to move some of those threes over to 2-point attempts, in my opinion.
Was Tillman out for this game?
He was.
Was this the game that Kobe Brown went off?
Kobe Brown, 21 points. Yep.
Okay. So obviously we're going to have Tillman. Can't hurt.
Yeah.
It's on a neutral court rather than on the road.
Mm-hmm.
But I still I just got the heebie-jeebies about the SEC tournament, first of all, and playing one of these mediocre far south teams. It's just I don't see us beating these kind of teams very often, and we have performed horribly in the SEC tournament since joining the SEC.
Yeah,
terribly.
Yeah. Knowing that Missouri already lost to Georgia, I'm thinking, does this team really lose to Georgia twice in the same season? Surely not. I was looking at the end of Georgia's regular season. It's kind of interesting. So just before they beat Missouri, they lost to Alabama 115-82. Then beat Missouri by 10. Then lost to Florida by 7. Then beat LSU 91-78. Then lost to South Carolina 91-70. And then lost to Alabama again by 10 this time, 89-79.
Yeah, honestly, maybe the most puzzling result out of all of that is that they got blown out by South Carolina at home. I remember that. Yeah, man, talk about inconsistency. They are all over the place, but they can score, though. They're putting up points in just about every game.
Yeah, and they play incredibly fast pace. Their tempo was 13th in the country this season. They finished the year 14-11, 7-11 in conference play. They were one of these teams that kind of struggled with scheduling in their non-conference because of COVID and everything. They played nobody in the non-con, so they were 7-0 coming into conference play, and then immediately lost their first 4 games in the SEC. They're 78th on offense, 117 on defense. When we look at just conference play, they're 10th on offense, 14th on defense.
Another note on Missouri's SEC tournament struggles. I mean, this has just been like a I don't even know, just a nightmare. But
comical at times.
Comical almost, yeah. Missouri has not even made it past the quarterfinal in their SEC history. And I feel like we've played Georgia a lot. It feels like we played Georgia in the first round like every year.
Actually did beat them once. So, Konzo's first year, they lost to Georgia in that weird Michael Porter Jr. is back, folks, game. And
that feels like the Twilight Zone almost.
Yeah, that was like, that literally doesn't feel like it actually happened. like Michael Porter Jr. actually played in a Mizzou game? Like,
he
no, I don't think
played the whole
that's
game
right.
like needing back surgery or something.
Yeah, that SEC tournament game plus the NCAA tournament game was just like a completely different season. I think we've talked about that before, but that
and he still scored like 20 something points in that game. Like,
and
can
like
you
almost
imagine?
dropped the game winner.
All right,
but then the very next season they beat Georgia in the first in their first game, and then lost to Auburn, and now back to Georgia again. So it felt like there for a while we were always playing Ole Miss in the SEC tournament, and now we get a little run of Georgia. I guess when the same teams are not great for a while, you kind of play them.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, Missouri can't lose this game.
No.
I mean, if they lose this game, they're almost surely on that 8-9 line, and I don't know. They can't lose this game.
It's like it will feel like 2018 all over again.
Yeah, and it can't be good for their confidence, like going into the tournament and just on a weird losing streak.
Not to mention fan morale.
It's important.
Yeah.
What do you
Not
think?
been the highest as of late.
It really hasn't. I don't know. I hope they feel the urgency in this one. Especially losing to Georgia earlier in the year. I hope they realize, okay, this team is capable of beating us. We gotta play our best. It would be so nice if Missouri could. I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying this because it'll never happen, but it would be so nice to just easily beat Georgia, be able to conserve our energy for the next day. But Missouri doesn't blow anybody out, so that's probably never happening, but sure would be nice.
They blew out Oral Roberts,
who is actually in the tournament. I believe they won their conference tournament last night.
So we're looking at is I haven't been keeping up with this as well. Is Wichita State going to be in the big dance?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they were the regular season champs for the AAC.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Wichita State ended up having a great season.
Oral Roberts, Oregon, Wichita State, Liberty, Illinois, Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama, Florida. Missouri beat 9 NCAA tournament teams this year.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I should calculate what their record is versus tournament teams once after the bracket is announced, because I bet the discrepancy between their record against tournament teams versus teams that are not in the tournament is probably insane.
Yeah. All right, I think with Jeremiah Tillman in the lineup, Georgia is just not good at defense, and Missouri just took advantage in the paint last time without him. I got to think that's enough to not let Georgia come back once they go down big. So I'm thinking Missouri wins this one. Oh, something like 83-70.
Ooh, I would take that. Maybe
it's gonna be a beatdown.
Be able to rest the starters the last couple minutes. Maybe, I don't know. I think Missouri wins as well. I think it'll be a little bit closer than that. I'm going to say 85-79, but I think we're both on the same page that Missouri's going to score more than they usually do and win. Also, I got a little bit distracted a couple of minutes ago because when I was speaking on this topic.
Yeah.
And I just happened to notice that the word tomato is on our show notes.
Oh yeah, I saw that and forgot to bring it up.
I just
Battled back tomato at 40-40.
yeah, I was just gonna skim right past that, and I didn't notice
I
it.
legitimately saw it in the corner of my eye and it threw me off of what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, he battled back to make it 40-40 at the half.
Okay, thanks
They
for clearing that
battled
up.
back tomato it 40-40 at the half.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Okay. So we both think Missouri's winning to go on to play Arkansas. And we both had Vanderbilt beating Texas A&M. Sounds like they're going to do that. Can we get an update on
Yeah.
that?
Last time I saw Vanderbilt was up by 11
Ooh.
with 3 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
All right, let's start at the top of the bracket in the 9-8 matchup. We have Mississippi State and Kentucky. I have Kentucky moving on.
Kentucky. Kentucky's hot. They finished the second half of their season. Well, maybe not the second half, but they've played pretty well the last week or two.
Yeah, I would agree. Down the stretch, their only losses were to Florida and Mississippi State while beating Auburn, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and South Carolina.
I was actually really hoping Missouri would avoid them in the first round. Obviously they did, but I felt like there could be a scenario that they could meet in the first round.
Yeah.
It's actually the second round, but
Yeah, that's true.
it's really the first round.
Yeah, that's definitely the play-in game.
Yeah.
That's tonight. All right. Jumping all the way down to South Carolina, the 11 seed, versus Ole Miss, the 6 seed. Kyle, who you got in that one?
Ole Miss?
That seems like it might be. Well, I'm going to predict that that's the biggest margin of victory for any team in the entire tournament.
Whoa. I disagree.
Okay. Well, be thinking about which one you think it's going to be. Producer Cameron, who you got winning that one? South Carolina or Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
Kyle, did you say Ole Miss?
Yes, I did.
All right. We got Mizzou over Georgia. That brings us to Vanderbilt, the 12 seed, against Florida, the 5 seed. I have Florida moving on, but I think Vanderbilt makes a game of it.
Wow. I picked Florida, and I don't think Vanderbilt will make a game of it.
Okay.
Florida. No game.
Okay. Now, going back down to the bottom of the bracket, we all have Ole Miss against LSU.
In the quarterfinals.
And I have Ole Miss pulling off the upset and moving on, knocking off LSU.
I've got LSU.
LSU.
Wow, chalkies over here.
Oh, you just wait.
It's going to get messy.
Okay. All right, let's go up to the top of the bracket where we have the 8 seed Kentucky taking on the 1 seed Alabama. I've got Alabama moving on.
I've got Alabama winning, and I think this will be the biggest discrepancy of points.
Ooh, wow, no faith in Kentucky.
No faith.
Alabama.
Okay. This one might be the best game until the championship game, honestly.
And they just played.
What was the result of that one?
That was a win for Tennessee. You're talking about Tennessee, Florida.
Tennessee,
right?
Florida, yeah.
Yeah, Tennessee, Florida. That's a good game. It's the 4-5. And Tennessee just won that one recently, but they were at home.
I got Florida pulling off the upset.
As do I.
Florida.
Wow. The upset trifecta.
Wow. Triple scoop.
Triple scoop of upset. All right. Let's see the fireworks. We got Missouri versus Arkansas. The rubber match, they call it.
Yes.
The tiebreaker. Justin Smith will be playing. He kind of seemed like Missouri's kryptonite there in that second matchup.
Like a difference maker.
Missouri obviously won the first game of the first matchup of the season. That was Missouri's biggest.
That was
their most impressive win this season.
I agree.
Easily. Considering all factors, margin of victory and all that.
Mm-hmm.
They looked better for most of the Alabama game. But
yeah. They really were in cruise control the first time they played Arkansas, which was borderline shocking on the road.
Very nice to watch, though.
It was.
But then Arkansas got the revenge.
It was a close one. Did it go to overtime?
Something like that.
Something like that. Who you got? I already know who you have.
I got Arkansas.
Yeah, because you said that Alabama would play Arkansas in the finals or something like that earlier, so I knew that.
Did I really?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're like, oh, yeah, that'll be a good one for them. They're going to beat
I said
Kentucky
no. I meant
Tennessee
I really didn't
and
mean
Arkansas.
it that way. I picked Florida over Tennessee, but I was just saying that Alabama has the potential if they want to beat Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas for their resume.
Yeah, you
Just
already
digging
showed your hand.
digging
We
yourself
know.
deeper.
The listeners followed along better than
I'm
you guys
sure they did. I've got Missouri beating Arkansas in this game.
Let's go.
I think it's time for Mizzou to exercise their demons, get over that hump of the quarterfinals in the SEC tournament. They're going to take advantage of this quadrant 1 opportunity and beat a very good Arkansas team who's been hot, but I think they're going to run out of steam. Honestly, the biggest advantage in this game for Arkansas is that they don't have to play a game before they have to play Missouri, so they might be a little bit more well-rested, but...
Or will they be rusty? Rust versus rust.
Or will they be playing Georgia?
Well, that is a possibility.
Producer Cam, who you got?
Mizzou.
Wow. Yeah, well, a bunch of sunshine pumpers.
That
over
could
here.
be a fantastic game, though.
I'm not gonna get the listeners' hopes up, guys. I don't know. Not that Mizzou fans listening need help not getting their hopes up.
Yeah.
You guys need it more than anybody, apparently. All right, the semifinals. We all have Alabama, Florida as the matchup here on the top of the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have Alabama going on to the championship game.
As do I.
Alabama.
Is that a close game? I feel like it's not.
10 points.
It's not super close. All right, I have Arkansas beating Ole Miss to reach the championship.
I've got Missouri getting.
That won't be close.
I've got Missouri getting revenge on LSU.
Okay.
I've got Mizzou's going to beat Arkansas. They're going to be super high from that game.
Yeah.
And they're going to kind of have a letdown game against LSU. LSU moves on.
That's much more reasonable. Thank you. No, actually.
Is it that unreasonable?
No, it's not at all. If Missouri beats Arkansas, I will be super hyped, and I feel like they have an excellent chance to beat LSU.
Missouri has a far better
What if
resume.
they play Ole Miss?
Then we're screwed.
Yeah, we are 100% screwed if we were playing Ole Miss. Missouri has
LSU.
a better resume than LSU. They're going to be a higher seed in the NCAA tournament than LSU. There's absolutely no reason they shouldn't win this game if they play again.
Okay. Yeah,
Making
makes
the case.
sense. Except I think they're going to be playing Ole Miss if they beat Arkansas. So
that would probably
watch
how
out.
it would go.
Okay, so I have the number 1 and the number 2 seeds facing up in the championship game. I have Alabama and Arkansas, and I've got Alabama taking home the top prize.
So do I.
Me too.
So you have Alabama over.
LSU.
You have.
I have Alabama over Missouri.
That's
I love it.
that's something.
You guys just wait, okay? I actually could definitely see a scenario where Alabama is the 2 seed. They know they're the 2 seed. They know they're safe as can possibly be, and they stumble up somewhere. I would not be surprised whatsoever to see Alabama lose to Florida or something like that.
Yeah, which team can really help themselves the most as far as NCAA tournament? It seems like Alabama. They're
pretty much where they're going to be,
Yeah.
I think.
I don't see them dropping to a 3. They're closer to getting to a 1 if they ran the table here, but I still don't think that happens.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Missouri has a wonderful opportunity to play against one of the hottest teams in the country, against of Arkansas, who's probably a 3 seed at the moment. Tennessee and Florida both have great opportunities to. I mean, they're probably right around the same area that Missouri is as far as NCAA seeding, but both of those teams, one of the 2 of those teams will have the opportunity to play Alabama most likely. So that's obviously a great opportunity to improve their resume as well.
Is Ole Miss making the NCAA tournament?
I say no.
What if they beat LSU?
They would have to probably make it to the championship game, I think, to be in the at-large bid conversation.
I'm going to see what Bart Torvik has to say on the matter real quick.
So what are we thinking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6.
SEC teams?
That's my guess for sure.
If Ole Miss beats LSU but loses to Arkansas. Bart Torvik says they will be one of the last 4 byes, so not in one of the playing games, and be an 11 seed.
That was if they make it to the championship game and lose?
No, if they just beat South Carolina and LSU and lose to Arkansas.
It's possible. We've got a great defense. They could shut down LSU, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, if they can keep, if anybody can keep Cam Thomas not quiet, but at least inefficient, then I think they got a pretty good chance.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Surely Missouri wins 1 game in this tournament.
I sure hope so. It's going to be depressing if they don't. I'm about to boycott SEC tournament if they lose in the first round again.
It'll be hard to watch much of it if they do that.
I know. It really does. It takes away from the experience of the event. Whenever whenever your team has an early exit, an unexpected exit, that can really taint the rest of the experience.
If Georgia beats Missouri, then my new prediction is Arkansas over Georgia is the highest point differential in the tournament.
I will agree with that.
But for now, I'll stick with Ole Miss. That's what I said, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm convicted in it. Let's talk about Missouri's NCAA tournament seed real quick. Last time we talked about it, what were we looking at? 7 seed?
7-ish probably.
Yeah. And I was looking at Bracket Matrix, which is a website that just takes all the available brackets of somewhat reliable sources and just compiles them all together. And as of right now, with 139 brackets reporting, Missouri is a 7 seed. They're the second 7 seed out of 4, right there with Oklahoma, Oregon, and Wisconsin. So they would be playing either North Carolina, UCLA, VCU, or Maryland.
Give me Maryland out of that group for sure.
It'd be kind of fun to play North Carolina.
Yeah, that'd be cool for sure. I think if Missouri just kind of does what they're supposed to do in the tournament, like beat Georgia and then lose to Arkansas, I think 7 seed is probably where they'll end up. It'd be great to stay above that 8 line. I've seen a little bit of banter online this week about how it might be best for Missouri to kind of just beat Georgia and then head home and take a loss against Arkansas. I think I disagree with that, and I understand the argument where you just kind of conserve your energy and you make sure you avoid COVID and all that stuff. I understand that, but you're already there. You might as well just do your best. And I think that sometimes the tournaments, the conference tournaments, are an incredible opportunity to prove that you've got momentum going into the NCAA tournament. It can provide confidence to the team if you do better than expected, and it's multiple opportunities for more quad 1 victories potentially. I think Missouri still has the opportunity to improve their seed up to 6, and depending on how things fall, if they really do well, they could potentially get up to a 5 seed. That would be all the greatest things in the world falling into place. But
interesting you say that, because I just asked Bart Torvik, the website.
He probably says they're like a 12.
If Missouri beats Arkansas, well, first Georgia, then Arkansas, then LSU, then Alabama, he's got him a 5 seed.
If they win the tournament. Yeah, I mean, it would
with a win against Georgia and a loss to Arkansas, he's got him at a 7.
Yeah, they'd have to clear some serious hurdles for something like that to happen, but I just don't understand why you wouldn't try and just win the whole thing. I think Missouri is good enough. They've beaten pretty much every team that they could possibly face, except for maybe like LSU. There's not a team in this bracket that Missouri could not beat, and I don't know why you don't just try and take the opportunity to improve their resume a little bit before you head into the big dance.
Absolutely, completely agree. So Missouri's in action tomorrow It'll be today, probably, when most of you are hearing this, this evening, 6 p.m. Central Time. Can't wait. We've just got a few, precious few games left in this season.
Yeah.
We got to cherish them.
Enjoy the ride. Enjoy March. Enjoy these seniors.
And don't forget to submit your bracket to the ESPN Tournament Challenge Bracket Group, Missouri Sports Pod 2021. Group motto, I love Tyler Beatty.
And we're thinking we'll probably record one more time before the big tournament starts after Selection Sunday, so you'll have one more reminder to join the tournament group. But it'd be really fun to get a nice big group and everybody participating and fighting to beat Cameron. Got to take him down.
Bring it on.
All right, that's all I got for him.
That's all I got.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or on Twitter and Instagram at Mizzou Sports Pod, and you can email us at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
You can find our shirts and stickers on our online shop, MissouriSportsPod.BigCartel.com.
And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/MissouriSportsPod. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We will see you in a few days.